employment law, featured on CNN Money, consistently ranked as a top 10 tier employment attorney by Expertise Connections, a human resources consultant, expert, and advocate. Informational, inspirational, and entertaining. One of the most talked about and progressive shows on social media. Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart.
Good evening and welcome to Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart. I am so excited to be with you on today. We have a very special guest in the studio with us on today, and he is outstanding. You do not want to miss what this young man has to offer. But before I tell you about our guest, let me tell you a little bit about the show. Again, this is Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart. And currently we are broadcasting on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Daily Gospel Network, Daily Gospel International, and we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel under Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart and follow us on Facebook under attorney Sheila R. Stuart. Welcome, Pastor Keith Clinton. He is the newly appointed U.S. representative for AFTA. I may not be saying that correctly, but
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And it is the African Continental Free Trade Area. Pastor Clinton is also an author, a filmmaker, and he is currently starting a new talk show called Kingdom Talk. And we are excited about his talk show. He's going to have great guests on the show, and you want to tune in and to hear him. How are you doing, Pastor Clinton?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me again.
It is my distinct honor and pleasure to have you with us. You are doing some exciting things, not only in the city of St. Louis, but you're doing some exciting things in the United States of America. And your work is so far reaching that you are recognized on the continent of Africa and in the country of Ghana and in other places in the continent of Africa. And we are so excited for the work that you are doing. To just get us started, can you just tell us a little bit about the new role that you have and what you're currently doing?
Okay, well, this goes back to 2020, actually, when I first visited Ghana for an investment business forum. I spoke at that summit, that conference, and I began to build relationships with some of the business leaders and officials over in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward 2 or 3 years later, they thought I was a good fit for this position as they expand their influence in the US and other places around the world. This is a wonderful organization. They represent over 25 to 30 African nations and steady growing. And what my particular role would be in the US is to simply to help businesses in Ghana as well as the US for exporting and importing. So if you have a business that that you can scale that or service that you feel that can serve countries in Africa with the organization, I'm the person to help you to do that. And again, I will be a representative in the U.S. and the Caribbeans to help businesses to do business with each other, U.S. businesses as well as African business for trading and importing and exporting.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So can you give us some examples of some of the businesses that can contact you if they wanted to take advantage of this great opportunity? Just give us an idea of some of the businesses that have been successful in the past working with this organization and how they can get in contact with you.
Well, it varies. However, if you have a service or a product where you feel that the African continent or particular nation can use your product, then this is a great start to help you to make those connections and their relationships, and to go through all of the legal process of exporting or importing. For an
Mhm.
example, if you have a just say some type of uh, cosmetic type of product,
Mhm.
healthcare product, what have you, and you feel that Africa is a great place for you to market your product,
Mhm.
that would be a great fit. And vice versa. There are a number of small to mid-sized businesses in Africa who have some excellent product and services that we can import here in the United States as well. So, I mean, it goes both ways. So, if you do have a service, this is a great start to contact me, and we can put you in contact with the right people to help you through that process.
Awesome. Is there a cost involved?
Of course, there's always a cost. Exporting and importing is a costly, transaction there. So, we'll walk you through the process, but there's always a cost.
Okay. Do you need, just trying to get more specific for individuals, do you need to put together a business plan and submit any type of a business plan, or to submit any type of projection of profits and loss, those types of things, in order to get involved?
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
It's helpful, but again, we have a number of people across the board that can also assist you with your business plan and the financials as well. It will be great if you come with them already prepared, but also we have people in place to assist you with that as well.
Okay, great, great. And that's what I wanted to bring together, because I know we're living in a time system where many individuals now are entrepreneurs. A lot of people do not want the steady, closed in system of a 9 to 5 job anymore. So we're embracing more individuals today that have an entrepreneurship mindset. They have a vision for developing businesses, and I think this is a great opportunity and a great open door for individuals who want to travel, and for individuals who want to take a chance, do some risk taking, and to do business at a different level in the Caribbean, in Africa as well. So I wanted you to give them this information for that entrepreneur population out there that's watching, that will see this on YouTube, and to recognize that this is something interesting that I can do to expand my business portfolio. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that you would like to share at this time regarding your role as U.S. representative with this organization?
Well, one of the things that we're working on, again, this is a new position and it's still
Hmm.
developing. But one of the things that I'm currently working on is a global summit, and I would like to host it here in St. Louis, and then we will also host it in several other key cities around the U.S. and in the Caribbeans. But that's my first project. We're working on a conference that will take place hopefully in 2024. And we're going to bring all types of industries together, corporate American entrepreneurs, educators, you name it. We're going to bring them together in one location, one place, and with the purpose of simply strategizing to do business. And this is truly a global economy. And I'm encouraging so many of us, and specifically minorities, to get involved. And I think this is part of what we often talk about, the transfer of wealth in the church. The opportunities are there. God says, I give you the power or the ability to gain wealth. And here's an
Hmm.
opportunity for all of us. If you have those transferable skills, this is an opportunity for you to think outside what you call the box, uh,
Hmm.
because there's someone who out there that need your service or product, and there are billions of people around the world that you can reach. And again, one of the things that I'm working on is our first summit in the U.S.
And that sounds interesting. And you think you will host it here in St. Louis?
that's what we're working on. I hope St. Louis will be receptive to that and supportive, basically, of this conference.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. You are also on the brink of starting a new talk show called Kingdom Talk. Is that correct?
Yes, it's been on the drawing board for several years, and I think this is the time the Lord is releasing me to start this Kingdom Talk podcast. And I believe that this is going to be one of those shows like Legal Views that is going to reach a lot of people. And let me add that you're doing an excellent job with Legal Views, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. So it's going to be a similar show, but we're going to be talking about things, everything from a kingdom perspective, because I believe that we're at a time where I believe we are in a famine, and that's a famine of a lack of truth and righteousness. So
Hmm.
we're going to look at life issues and deal with different topics from a kingdom perspective across the board.
Okay.
So we're gonna tackle those tough issues, but I believe you're gonna hear some things from a different perspective.
Interesting. So when you say you were in a famine, could you just elaborate on that a little more?
Well, the famine that I witnessed and experienced is that uh, this society that we're in, people do not care for the truth. They
Okay.
just want whatever sounds good, the sensationalism. If it sounds good, they'll roll with it. So there's a lack of truth, or a lack of desire for truth.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go beyond the surface of things that we listen to and hear every day on the news. Many people live their life based on what they say or what they heard on the news. And I
Okay.
know that that's a fraction, and a lot of times it's not, the truth or the whole truth.
Okay.
So, I'm encouraging people to, and specifically the church, there's always a hidden agenda
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. What you're hearing in popular media is maybe a fraction of what you really need to know. And I'm speaking from a experience. I worked 4 or 5 years in television news, and I
Okay.
know, I know what goes across the air is not always what really happened. As a associate producer, as a field producer, as a editor, a desk worker, I know that what we hear, and it's dangerous because many people nowadays through social media, if they hear it on social media, I guess it has to be true. So let us, as a people of the Most High, and believers in Jesus Christ, we have to go beyond the surface of a matter and do your research, investigate, pray about, ask God to give you insight, because we're in some dangerous times where people need to know what is truth and what is absolute truth. And we're going to be addressing those type of issues coming up in a few weeks on Kingdom Talk.
Excellent. And how can they watch you? How can they find where you're located to tune in to Legal Talk? Excuse me, to Kingdom Talk.
Yeah, Kingdom Talk. Well, you can go to my page, Keith Clinton, and we're going to be doing a lot of promotion on social media, Keith Clinton, and also Kingdom Talk with Pastor Keith Clinton.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, uh, and we're going to start moving more to Twitter as well. I'm going to have some of our young people help me with Twitter.
Okay, great, great. And so when is your launch date? You think your launch date is going to take place? Did you say next week?
Yes, next week we are probably do a soft launch. Now this is not guest driven.
Mhm.
However, we will have some important guests on the show to assist me on some of these subject matters. So
Mhm.
we're going to have some professional athletes. We're going to have politicians, statesmen, business leaders, you name it. We're lining them up as I speak. So I'm looking forward to our first show, which would probably be an introduction.
Mhm.
I would just kind of do the 30-minute show, introducing what the show is about and some of the subject matters. So I think that's going to be interesting as well.
It sounds interesting. And we need this type of information in a day like this. As you know, we're in the middle of not the United States per se, but we are financially supporting two wars. We have the war in Ukraine and we have the war in Israel that's taking place right now.
Mhm.
So we're having just trouble throughout the world and innocent lives being lost. And you have a book out that I was looking at earlier this week and today, and it's called Manage Anger Now, Diffusing a Nation. This book discusses how we can diffuse a nation from anger. And when you look at the world right now, this very second, people are angry. They're angry about the bombing in Israel. They're angry about the innocent lives that's being lost in Pakistan. They're angry because they're innocent lives being lost on both sides. How do we actually put this into practice? How do we diffuse anger to stop killings? And then we don't have to look at it at the level of the wars. We can look at the battles and the killings that is taking place currently across the US and inner cities and so forth. How do we diffuse anger?
Well, one of the things when it comes to the current war in Israel, there's what we call righteous indignation,
Mhm.
righteous anger. You have a right to be angry. Um, One of the things that I let people know that these things that are occurring are Bible prophecy. They have to come to pass. All right. But my question to you is, why are you angry? Because if we truly believe what these ancient scriptures say to us as believers, then many of these things have to come to pass.
Okay.
Wars, rumors of wars,
Hmm.
you know, earthquakes in diverse places. In other words, we know these tragedies are coming. Okay. So, what do we do as human beings or as believers? What we have to understand that, and I think I spoke this on one of your previous shows, is that the Ukraine and Russia war, I was not going to divert a lot of my energy and effort towards what was going on there because I know that Russia, Ukraine, America is not the center of God's heart as far as landmass and areas. It's Israel, it's Jerusalem.
Hmm.
So that area gives us insight of what's the prophecies that's going to come to pass. So that's where our focus need to be. Now, as believers, we ought to be not only praying for Israel, but praying for the innocent lives of the Palestinians that they be saved and, especially the children. But at the same time, we have to understand this is Bible prophecy. It has to come to pass. And we're moving quickly to uh, the coming of the Messiah and
Hmm.
or even sooner that the Armageddon.
Okay.
All right. And it's about the land that God ordained and selected. Okay. And I believe personally that it's only going to be preserved until all of the tribes of Israel be included.
Hmm.
So when we talk about the anger, I'm angry that people don't truly understand what's really happening over in Palestine and Israel. They really don't understand. Some people think that, hey, this person or this nation is the enemy. Another believe the other is the enemy. I believe Satan is behind it. There is a hidden agenda that people have to realize, and specifically the believers.
Hmm.
Okay, it's going to come to a point where we will have to take a side. And my side is not Democrat. My side is not Republican. My side is not independent. My side is not the Green Party, is the Kingdom Party. And I'm relying on what these ancient scriptures have said to us as a people.
Mhm.
So it keeps my anger in the right place.
Okay.
I'm angry that people don't understand what truly happened.
Okay.
That's what I'm angry about.
Okay. And let me do a correction. I think I said Pakistan. If I did, I can't. I may have said Pakistan, but I did mean Palestine. If I did say
Mhm,
Pakistan, the Palestinian war has been going on since 1923, and
mhm,
before time. Back in the biblical days, but recently it's been going on. Uh, it started with 2 weeks ago, the
mhm,
actual attack in
mhm.
Israel. So, what's your understanding, your thoughts in terms of what's really going on? It's a
Well,
lot of opinions, and
right.
these views do not represent necessarily my
Mhm.
views or the church
Absolutely.
views or my business views. We're
Absolutely.
just having a conversation. What in
Absolutely.
your opinion, what do you think is
Well,
actually going
let,
on?
let me say this on a much spiritual level. And I know a lot of people may not even get this, but that's okay. And that's why a lot of time I hold some of these conversations on a more personal level after we go off the air. But
Mhm.
I'm saddened by my human side is angry and saddened about the innocent life of a lot of children that are being lost. Okay,
Oh,
innocent people.
absolutely.
Saddened by
Of
that.
course. Hmm.
Regardless of where. Listen, war is an ugly thing. However, on the spiritual level, because of my experience and what I know to be true in the deepest of my heart and my experience, those children are saved in eternity.
Hmm.
Because of my experience of being in the heavens, God allowed me to go into the heavenly realms before, not only once but twice. And I've seen and I heard the children there in heaven. So when I see the loss of life on the natural side, it's heartening. It's sad. Many people are angry, but on the spiritual side, those children are saved. They're in the presence of an eternal God, a loving
Hmm.
God.
Hmm.
Now, some people don't understand that. Some people won't accept that, but I know that to be true, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay. So are your thoughts and your views is that people don't understand the seriousness of the war because of I'm missing something here.
Yeah, I don't. I listen. Uh, when we talk about two wars, my focus have always been, and I know there are wars that happen all over the world, but I think I mentioned this a year ago when I said I think our eyes need to be on Africa, on the continent of Africa.
Hmm.
And people were up in an uproar. Oh, but Russia and the Ukrainians. I mean, we know pour billions of dollars over that. I said, well, no, there are some things happening right now in Africa that we're overlooking. And some people are forgetting the fact that Israel and Palestine is in northern Africa. It's not the Middle East. That's something that they named to make people feel good. The Middle East, that's the northern Africa.
Hmm.
So I said that at least a year ago, I said, well, our focus need to be on the continent of Africa.
Hmm.
There's some things that happen in the Congos that we're overlooking. Thousands of people and children are dying daily, but the Western world overlooked it as if there's nothing going on there.
Well, I
And we
totally
as
agree with
Black
that
people,
view.
we're not conscious of of the atrocities and the tragedies are happening in different nations in Africa.
Well, I don't mind sharing my view on this, not at all. I do believe that the United States of America often pour millions and millions of dollars on foreign soil while our own US citizens suffer. We have a homeless problem in the United States of America.
Mhm,
We have a violence problem in the United States of America. And we have a new class of poverty in the United States of America. And those are children. And I
mhm,
think more dollars need to be poured into the U.S. economy to help struggling families and hurting families. I definitely
Absolutely.
believe that. And also, I do believe, according to the Bible, we're supposed to pray for Jerusalem, the peace of Jerusalem. And I'm not implying that we don't give any money. But when we give billions and billions and billions of
Right.
dollars on foreign soil, and then
Hmm.
our own U.S. citizens are struggling and living in substandard housing and poverty, I think there's a serious problem there. And I think there needs to be more attention to the needs
Absolutely.
of American citizens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm in agreement with that. But do you know that also the U.S. have provided aid to the Palestinians as well for humanity efforts? And they should.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am aware of that.
Okay. So I'm in agreement with that. However, we as believers and saints of God, we have to broaden our understanding of what's really happening, even though we say we believe these ancient scriptures, but when it comes to uh, taking action or having true concern, we most people continue on with their everyday life. And after COVID, after the 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 middle part of COVID, I was telling people that we cannot go
Hmm.
back to normal. There's no such thing as normal for me.
Hmm.
We have to heighten our sensitivity to the events that are happening around the world, and not only in America, but around the world, and understand that America is not the center of God's heart. It's Israel, it's Jerusalem. So we can't, I've seen a lot of people prophesy about events that's happening here, and we automatically think, that we are the focus. When you go outside of America, there's a whole nother world.
Hmm.
And this is what I'm really trying to encourage, not only the church, but business people. Reach outside of your comfort zone. And when I first visit Ghana in the middle of COVID, the Lord gave me some real insight
Hmm.
about where we are as a church. And I think, and let me tell you this, I do appreciate you encouraging me on the last message that I delivered, um, on a much broader scope about God has brought charges to the church,
Hmm.
indictment of the church, and it's scripture. I'm not going to go on to the detail of that message, but I know there's somebody out there will hear what I'm about to say. I was driving down the street and I was reminded of all the people that was mocking and let me say this. I don't stand on a Democratic platform, a Republican platform, an independent platform, a Green Party. I stand on the kingdom platform. So what
Okay.
I'm about to say is that when I heard Christians, followers of Christ, laughing and mocking when Donald Trump was being indicted, I felt conviction in my heart. I said, that's not right. Why are you laughing and making mockery? Do you really know the absolute truth of everything that's really going on? After hearing that several times, I was convicted. The Holy Spirit says, son, I'm convicting the church while they're laughing. I'm indicting the church.
Hmm.
And I thought again, I said, okay, Lord, now if I start talking like that, where's some scriptural foundation with that? And he gave me enough scripture and insight is that we have to be careful when we're laughing and making mockery of people's so-called downfall,
Hmm.
because the same charges that was brought against him, God was bringing against the church. So wake up, church, and hear what God is really saying in this time and season. And I'm confident because if he can take this young boy that was brought up in North St. Louis, who was
Hmm.
often overlooked, who was often put in positions that as if I didn't even exist, mainly because I had a very quiet demeanor about myself. I didn't talk much coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you encourage me, I'm reminded in my childhood. Now, personally, I think I was a really great athlete coming up, baseball and football. And I think there are some people out there would agree. Very good athlete. And when I went back to the community, my neighborhood, and the guys that often play what we call street ball, they didn't play organized ball, they played street ball. All right. These are the
Mm-hmm.
guys that will play football or baseball with a cigarette hanging out their mouth or a drink on the sideline or what have you. But they didn't really know who I was. But there was always a person, a young man that was over in the off to the side who knew who I was, who knew that I was a really good athlete in organized football and organized baseball sports. They knew who I was, but the other guys didn't follow organized sports. So they would often overlook me when we choose teams. I don't know if you're familiar with we would come together in the different neighborhoods and we would break off into teams, and there's a captain on this side, a captain on this side, and they would choose who they wanted on their team. And I was always the guy who some kind of way got overlooked
Mm-hmm.
by the so-called captains, the leaders of the neighborhood. But there was always a person in the corner, get him, get that guy. I'm telling you, get that guy. They knew I was an MVP player, right? You are that person for me in the ministry. You're that person that said, hey, that guy has something to say. Even though doors have been shut on me locally, overlooked locally, God has put me on the international scene. And I felt the power of God when I just said that. God will, this is for somebody. Don't worry about what they say or what they think about you. When
Mm-hmm.
you have an assignment from God, God will raise you up in due season. Don't be weary in well doing. Just don't give up. Just don't faint. Trust in God that God has an ultimate plan and purpose for your life. And I know it's going to be big.
That is wonderful. And I received that from my life today, tonight. Thank you, CEO, pastor, U.S. representative, filmmaker, producer, talk show host, Pastor Keith Clinton. Thank you so much for being with us on today. You always do a phenomenal job. You know, I've brought you back a couple of times because I want to get this message out on how people can do business at another level, in another place, and be blessed, and for the wealth transfer and prosperity to take place at a whole nother dimension. Thank you for being with us on today. We want you to tune in and come back and be with us again after you go back to Ghana and have your summit. We want to have you back again. And you always, like I said, you always do a tremendous job. You have been tuned in to Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart. Thank you so much for being with us, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Legal Views with attorney Sheila R. Stuart. Like, comment, share,